Welcome to Exit Frag. I'm Zeph. I'm joined by Esports Andy and Forefather. Today we are going to talk about the free agency. Right before Masters Bangkok, there was a couple of news things that happened throughout the week. We're going to talk about the MIBR one because that one's the biggest one. Nowzer benched from MIBR. This was a total shock to me. The whole reason they brought in Nowzer was to bring in Aspas, and now it seems like now that they got him in the contract, they're like, all right, you're out.
Well, he wasn't even like that bad. Like he wasn't like the best.
Yeah.
But he does fit like a nice role for the team. I just thought that was such a weird like, oh yeah, let's do this. Like that was the change we got to do.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this move, and it's not because I don't like actually I don't like that they're possibly bringing in Verno. We'll talk about that in a bit. But mostly because like I see why they did it, but at the same time I'm like, nah, it could have worked out a different way. So Artzine actually took over for Nowzer in the calling department. And I can see them wanting to get like another player to replace Nowzer just to get like a better performance, because they did end up falling short, not qualifying for Bangkok, and mostly it could be attributed that the firepower is just not on par. But I still think that they could have at least gone one more split with Nowzer before moving on from him.
My thing is that I didn't think the calling was all that bad. Like his individual play wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't like it was an IGL level. That's why but they still got third, and that would give you two like international appearances.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't see that. I think now because it's a Brazilian team that is now like you have to get a visa, you have to do all this. They're kind of like, aren't they kind of stuck getting like a North American player? They can't like even get a Brazilian player unless they like I don't know. It's just kind of, I feel like it's gonna mess up the team chemistry.
Yeah, I think I see it more as a negative than a positive, especially because Noin ended up reporting that Nowzer is being replaced for Verno, which is like, what? You're telling me that you're bringing in the guy who had like chemistry issues with NRG?
Well, if he doesn't speak Spanish at all, he already didn't speak when he was on like in English. So it's
Portuguese.
Portuguese. Sorry, but
he just pissed off so many people.
I'm Mexican. Right, I'm Mexican.
He's forgiven. He's forgiven.
It's just kind of funny. He's just gonna like hang there. Like, what is he gonna do? Like, he's a skilled player, I guess. If he just want talent, like.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have dropped anyone personally. I didn't think they played bad at all. But if I was going to drop someone, I guess I would drop Nowzer. Like, I thought all the other players had a lot more flashes than he did, but like that's not really, you didn't bring him on to have flashes. You brought him on to be Aspas's friend and like and chill with Aspas and keep the vibes going. So I don't know. It sucks for him. Second year in a row where this kind of shit has happened to him. So hope he lands on his feet, but there's not that many options, so it's rough.
There is a big option for him. I don't know if he will take it, but 2G need all the help they can get.
That's true. I think I would rather I think I'd rather just go home and play ranked than play with 2G.
That's crazy.
2G is in a rough spot. Also, they already have like their IG on their vibes guy, which I think is like, if you want to say that 2G has any strong points, that might actually be their strongest point is Zap, I believe, the main dude.
That's true.
So, hey, we never know. 2G could really turn up and split one, guys. Let's not.
I would hope. Please win a game.
Oh, no, I was totally lying.
I hope they do like a crazy upset and like upset NRG or something.
Dude, a week one
we've been
upset,
through hell already.
A week one upset and then just bomb out. Just bomb out. Just ruin NRG season and then bomb out 0-4 for the rest of the split or whatever it is.
Jesus.
You'd just be so clowned on.
I still believe in Verno, but I would be a little bit concerned about like, yeah, the comms issue. Like, are we gonna make everyone switch to English? I would assume to compensate for Verno. Like, Verno's not gonna learn Portuguese, and I would assume that most of these guys are. I mean, they're definitely not fluent in English, but there's a familiarity there. I would,
I know
I would just imagine they're going to be doing English.
Cortesia was doing pretty good on his interviews.
Yeah.
I don't know about Zenom and who else? I'm already Artzine. Artzine was doing all right on interviews, but he looked like he was struggling.
It's just not ideal when you're having to comp for just one player.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough.
Everything. Like, strip it up.
But I still do believe in Verno. I think he's immensely talented, and I just think he maybe wasn't mature enough to play. Is kind of what it seems. Yeah. Like, whatever. He's a kid still,
Yeah, he learned his lesson.
Whatever. These things happen. Like, his career's not over. Nowzer's career is not over, I'm sure. We all know the Brazilian carousel of talent. It retools itself every offseason. He'll be back. Maybe him and MW Zera can link up and win a game or something. I don't know. But, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next free agent debacle. So we previously talked about Netank being benched from Leviatán. We did get somewhat of an update by Ido Para, who's now the head coach of Leviatán, and it's this decision did not come from the organization, as many rumored, I being one of them. This decision was made by the coaching staff and the players. The reason was quite simple. He was having a hard time fitting into the team system. We tried working around it, but after 3 months, we didn't see the improvement that we wanted. At the end of kickoff, we had the choice of continuing like this and hoping for better results or make a change now, since this is the only time of the season we would actually be able to do it. Now, I want to address the hate towards Leviatán. No, you guys deserve it. Okay. Guys, is there any updated, do you feel any different as you were before about Netank being removed from this roster?
I think it's okay for Leviatán because they can just, they common English, so they're just going to get whoever. And like they're the ones.
Rossi, right?
Yeah,
supposedly.
Yeah, and that
I think it's all but confirmed.
If the system doesn't work for him, I get it. I just think Netank is too good not to be like that should not go against him because he's a player that back with Gentle Mates is one of the most flexible. Like he was like their flexible superstar. Like he could do a lot of different roles and he could do a lot of different things. Play at a really good level. I did see him struggling a little bit with Leviatán, but I just thought Leviatán was just struggling.
Yeah,
like I don't really. I hate to say I don't care. I don't care about Leviatán at this point. They're just like they're a whatever team for me. I don't like whatever they do is compartmentalized all the way over here with the teams I don't really like follow too closely. So I will say though, why the hell are we? What is this? This is such a stupid statement to be like, no guys, it was the coaches and the players like that. That accomplishes nothing. Just do a we mutually parted ways statement. Like I don't understand why esports teams like to do this. Like all you're doing is taking blame that didn't exist, and now you're making blame and putting it on your players and coaches for literally what? For no reason. Just so people have someone to blame on Reddit and Twitter. Like just do a generic ass like Netank, we have agreed to mutually part ways. That's way better for everyone involved. It doesn't make Netank look bad. Because now the public sentiment is like, oh, Netank couldn't adjust to the system. It's like, well, yeah, you made him move across the pond and then played him for 3 games and then kicked him off the team. I would imagine that was a tough adjustment period for him, but I don't understand the statement. I think team-wise, like just looking at the in-game stuff, Rossi will be a suitable replacement. I like Rossi. I've liked Rossi since his TSM days. So I don't see I think it'll be a fine move. I don't think it moves the needle for them. I don't think they're going to be like a great team or anything, but yeah.
This team
That's
is
where I would.
this team is one roster move away from not having any LATAM players. And I know I bring this up ad nauseum. I know I fucking bitch about it like every single episode, but I need to do it. It's for my own sanity.
I I just am like, what system? Like, if
Yeah.
I watched their games from game to game, I'd be like, what system did you build? And I would say that if you built a system, it's not good because the way you're playing Demon One is so weird. Or like how Demon One plays in the system is like there's just like I said, like I thought the tank didn't do well, but I think Leviatán didn't do well.
Yeah.
Like they just looked sloppy for the amount of talent they had.
Yeah. All right. Quickly moving on to let's do Paper Rex first. They have signed PatMen, and he is supposedly going to join them not for stage 1, but for stage 2. What do you guys think about Paper Rex keeping their original roster heading into stage 1?
I'm still kind of just like Paper Rex struggled, but I still have to see a little bit more from this roster to just be like, hey, like yeah, this is like I don't know. I still want to see them play more together. I just think doing anything crazy and being super reactionary is still kind of like they lost to T1 and then they had a bad game against DFN. You know, like now that we know that T1 won the whole thing, it's
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I don't think there's any more time to be given. What are we waiting for? Genuinely, what are we waiting for? This team has done nothing. I'm sorry. I've been waiting. I say this every time PaperX makes an event and every time their fans hype them up. We've been waiting since fucking 2022 for this team to go on the run that they were supposed to go on, and it doesn't happen. And you can't keep the same 5 players and ram your head into the wall over and over and over again. That being said, that's my take as like a fan of the game. As a more level-headed, reasonable person, this is a very tough decision because none of these players are bad or the problem. That's the hard part, is none of these players as individuals are problematic or weak links for the team. Who do you replace in this lineup? Like, legitimately, who do you replace? I wouldn't replace anyone. I wouldn't want to. Like, I don't want to have to make that call. I don't know who this guy is. I got to be honest. I don't follow Tier 2 for any other region except NA.
No
but
clue.
like, yeah, no, this is a tough choice, but like I don't really see an alternative. I guess the most you can do is give them stage 1 as like the last like prove it hurrah. But even then, domestic performance has never been the issue for Paper X. It's never been the issue. It's always the international stuff. It's always they get solved by better teams. So like I don't envy the person that has to make roster decisions for this team because it's kind of you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I feel like it's kind of the same way I felt about DRX for the longest time when they just kept ramming their head into the wall. And then they kind of made some changes, but they were so reluctant to make changes that it actually ended up being worse than if they had just bit the bullet and done it. And I fear that might be a similar situation here where, okay, the team performs decent, but maybe not to the level that we thought. So let's make a roster swap. Well, now it's worse. So now what? Do we go back on that? And like, because we're not seeing the immediate results that we expected. So like, sorry, my cat just darted across my room.
You're good.
So like, I don't know. It's they haven't won anything. This roster, as much as people want to be like, you shouldn't change anything with this roster. They've had the time to figure it out, and it hasn't gotten figured out. So what are we waiting for? What's the cue to like blow it up?
Okay,
I guess.
My opinion is that this style of Valorant is beyond over. I'm tired of seeing it because it's so easily like destroyed. The times that they've played G2 have dismantled this team. And you see it every time with a team that is incredible at strategy but maybe doesn't have the firepower, that they're able to pick Paper Rex apart because Paper Rex rely on their aim, they rely on their players being explosive, and when you get teams that know how to counter this play style, they don't do anything. They find a hard time adjusting. The moment I stopped believing was when I watched that EG Grand Final, and you would just see like Mindfreak or Forsaken just constantly peaking like at the beginning of the round and getting killed, like, and their playstyle hasn't changed at all. Like nothing about how they play has changed. So they're going to keep getting bullied if they continue with this W gaming. Like, yeah, sure, it's cool for the social media, for impressions, for selling t-shirts, but that's only temporary. If you don't win, then you're never going to. I mean, maybe you have a nice fandom, but if you really want to reach like everybody, you gotta win.
Yeah, I would also say like it's not just that the playstyle is outdated, it's that their core strength, which was having 5 shooters, is no longer a strength. Everyone has 5 shooters now. Everyone can aim except finesse. It's just,
Oh my god.
once finesse figures it out, then Paper X are fucked because now they don't win the. But like, yeah, no, the aim duels that used to always go their way are now no longer always going their way. Like the whole idea of having 5 guys that can frag and pop off. Most team, like the top teams, have 5 guys that can frag and pop off. So you don't even have that advantage there like you used to. So I feel like the game has just progressed to a point, and players have gotten good enough that their one thing that kind of made them formidable is no longer as apparent. So
I said this at the beginning of the season. I had a passion to cry to all 5 players of this team that if you don't become a real Valorant team, you're gonna lose your job. Like, and I'm hoping that Alex had been like, finally is like, hey, like, this is it. If you guys don't do good, we're literally gonna fire you guys.
Do
like,
we even believe in Alex though? How
Yeah,
long has Alex had
Alex
with
is
this
fine.
team?
Alex is fine.
If he can tell them in these last 2 months, hey, this is it. Like, you guys are gonna go all your separate ways, and you guys can't just be a friend group anymore if you guys don't perform and like listen to
But my thing is, why does Alex get a pass?
Alex gets a pass because he
'cause they
has
don't listen
been
to him.
trying to get the stretch. Like, come on.
He's literally so mad when they do this stupid.
I mean, he
thing.
can do the performative mad thing on the webcam shots, but I mean, the guy has been with the team for as long as they have never won anything,
Because
and they have had the
because
same
they think
issues for
they're-
2 years now.
I think they're cocky. I honestly think they're so cocky that because they like, we made it to this thing, we made it to that thing, and then they had 2 in a row last season where they didn't make it to top. Because they made top 3 in.
I don't know.
I think
Madrid.
when the team is relying on Alex to cook up a strat, I think it works out more times than not. But the
'Cause I would love to
the
see
moment
their
that Paper
timeout.
X take the moment that Paper X take things into their own hands, the moment that they want to start doing hero plays is the moment where things start going to shit.
And I think that's what we saw in the last 2. Because so like really think from like their perspective, like they only started really sucking after stage 2 of last year, or stage 1, I mean, because then they like failed out in Shanghai, then they failed out in Champions. So then going into into kickoff, they're like, oh, well, we had 2 like bad runs, but the season's new, we got this, and then they fumbled it. Maybe this 2 months will be the last time where they're like, oh wait, we're actually going to get our heads out our ass and actually play Valorant.
I don't know.
I hope. I don't know.
I think this core has been, when you have what? Okay, so I think back in 2022, Reykjavik was the Optic one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was when Paper X had their first time, like their first tournament of looking like a formidable team that could win something. Because in Copenhagen, they turned it up a notch and made the finals. It's been that same core 4. Minus Benkai plus something with Alex since the first international event of 2022. I don't know what we expect to change. It's been 3 years, guys. It's time to figure. There has to be a major change.
Yeah,
and it sucks.
My whole thing is that they literally, most of these players went from 18 to 21. And I'm just hoping that then, like,
I don't know.
Alex will be.
We're throwing numbers right now.
I don't know, man. It's been 3 years.
Their frontal lobe has developed more now. And like,
I mean, we just saw on kickoff that it didn't. It just didn't.
That's why they're like, oh crap, we suck.
And
now.
yes, they lost to T1, but they lost to bad T1. T1 did not look nearly as good. Like, I just don't. It's been 3 years, guys. Something has to change.
Let's bring it back. Okay. Well, we'll end it at. We'll end the Paper X segment at. they either make it or they don't make it through stage 2 without a change. PatMen seems to be at least management's dart at the board at trying to fix the issues if they persist this next split. Andy's saying that they still should get at least one more chance, and then make some changes. And Ford Father,
I've seen
like,
enough, man.
You've seen enough. I've seen enough camp, but we'll just leave it at that. All right, let's move on to the final topic, and that is Talon is replacing Ban and Governor. This was shocking to some people who maybe don't follow Pacific as closely, because Talon did end up finishing 4th, same as their previous appearance in Pacific Stage 2. And people are saying, well, at least they're consistent. Well, okay, here's the thing. You can only miss international events so much, and then, then it hurts. But then, like, yeah, they're top 4. They would have made champions. Okay, but we're not talking about champions. And this is not the first time that they've fallen short of accomplishing things in Pacific. I see it as they're putting in like all the chips in hopes to like try to win, and I can definitely respect that. If you watch Spike Talk, you'll definitely hear Frost talk about it as like it's also his last opportunity on this team, because Talon's not going to re-sign him if they don't have a great performance. If they don't win anything, it's going to be it for Frost on Talon. Thoughts?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm happy that it's an all-tie team. I'm pretty... I don't know too much about this team overall. I think that they did need to make a change because I think they were just going to progressively do worse. I think they did go on a little bit of a run, but I think this is a good switch. I think they're trying to build towards the future.
Yeah, I'm pissed off. I'm so angry. The NA influence is dwindling. We're talking about Ban from Pittsburgh Knights here, guys. This is an NA. This is an NA vet, NA legend. We're talking about Governor from Turtle Troop and Teal Seam or whatever the hell. No, it's probably the right move. I mean, whatever. Yeah. Like, Governor's a good player. Ban is an okay player. There's probably better options. I don't know much about the tier 2 scene there, but I low-key, I trust Frost as a coach. I think I admire the fact that he is willing to just like do things despite everyone hating everything he does at all times. And I know people are like pretty down on him in general just because he does have kind of this like arrogant attitude, and he's willing to go out there and just blast teams on his podcasts. I admire that. I think it's cool. I mean, it's not like he's getting personal with it. He's just like, yeah, this team sucks. Which, like, respect. We need those things to make things more interesting. But also you can't be talking shit like that and getting 4th place and like being consistently mid. So this to me is like a let's put your money where your mouth is, Frost. Let's see you elevate this team like you say you can, and yeah, I like Talon, so no complaints from me. I think Primy's a dope player. We'll just have to see if the 2 new additions pan out. I wouldn't make the assumption they're going to, just because we're going full Thyy, and you would be like, oh, well, now there's chemistry and like everyone can speak Thyy. I think it's dangerous to assume that new additions are just going to be good. We saw that with Zeta Division, where it's like, oh, Zeta got 2 fresh Japanese prospects in the building. Surely they're a better team now, right? And then they just weren't. Like, sometimes things don't pan out. So hopefully it does. I trust Frost's judgment. He scouted. Well, Primy was kind of well-known, but he brought Primy on. So,
Yeah. Killua has been a top-tier Thyy player since 2022? No, 2023. And so I'm glad to see more Thyy players coming up, getting some more experience, especially with a team that looks to be fully focused on that.
Yeah.
With Primy, this is the pride of Thailand. They're gonna they could maybe make a run. But I don't know. I don't think so.
It's cool when teams represent their region, I think. Leviatán, take some notes. Come on, guys. Get some South American talent in there. But yeah, no, I'm neutral. I'm neutral. If it works out, then I'll say that was awesome, and if it doesn't, I'll say, well, that kind of stinks. Like this doesn't move. This doesn't move me at all. So
No.
It is what it is.
This is why we put it at the end of the week, because these roster moves, they're not like headliners. They're just like things that happen throughout the week.
If Verno happens, that's crazy. We'll see. Verno and Aspas on the same team could be nasty. It could also be a disaster.
I think it'll be a disaster.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that is the end of of the content for this week. We'll be back next week. I think we'll definitely do a VCT America's like proper predictions. So make sure to subscribe to get that. For Forefather and Esports Andy, I'm Zeph. We'll see you next week.